Hey, 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 good morning. This is Leslie Pogue, your Chief Happy Officer. I don't know why I sound like a sports announcer this morning. Welcome to Your Here, Your Truth Tuesday. I am here today to talk about branding yourself on this first day of Black History Month, which is always great. And I think that I'll talk more specifically about Black history as it relates to mental health as we move through the month. But today, the reason I chose branding yourself today is because so often, and I experience this in my own life too, so often, especially as women of color, and I use that term because some of my friends get mad at me that I don't just say Black women. But I'm not just talking about Black women, I'm talking about women of color. And because women of color, I think we all fall into the same category in the sense that we are treated and looked at as different. I mean, again, you have women and then you have women of color. So on Black History Month, I want to kind of talk about what that means and how that impacts us on our mental health. So beginning with branding yourself, we're told often as Black women that, I won't say often, that's not fair, but I think that sometimes we hear that you're not Black enough or you don't represent Black women, or why do you, again, a lot of us are probably going to nod our head on this one, why do you talk white? And I can't believe people still say that. That just blows my mind that people actually still fix their mouth to say that. So I think it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Um, Right. So some of you are like, yeah, I know, right? So, but branding yourself is again being true to you. My mom raised us as people. Now, that doesn't negate the fact that I'm a Black woman in America. And every time I walk out my door, I'm a Black woman in America. And I don't need 10 dashiki robes hanging in my closet to express the fact that I'm a Black woman in America. I support Black businesses. I am, a Black owned business myself, but I don't need to necessarily you know, have a banner about it. I don't need to create a billboard. Now, that said, there's nothing wrong with people who lead with their ethnicity, with their race, with their culture, because again, that is part of their identity. And I say that because people who don't lead with that don't should not be made to feel less than, because it doesn't mean that they don't represent their culture, their race, their gender any less than people who put that out there and lead with that. I have a good friend of mine. I adore her to pieces. However, she is one of my friends that no matter what, when she buys me gifts, they are Afrocentric. There is not a single thing in my house. You guys can see my house. There's not a single thing in my house that is Afrocentric, um, except the things that she has bought me. And it's not a lot, to be fair, because she also gets me non-Afrocentric things. But every once in a while, she'll throw in that Afrocentric thing because she's one of those friends of mine that leads with the culture. And while it's beautiful and wonderful, and I'm not saying don't get me the Afrocentric things, what I am saying is, again, think about the person, think about who they are. I'm not saying run out and buy me, I don't know. I'm not going to use an example because no matter what I say, it's probably going to get me in trouble. So I'm going to watch myself on that one. But because everybody's like ready to just go, especially when it comes to race and culture. But I do want to be clear to those of you out there. And it made me feel great because I work with a lady too. She's an older lady than myself, but she was saying she experiences the same thing. Her house is done up in a very Asian style. She loves the Oriental style, and I do too. I gotta say, I love that styling. But her friends always tease her and give her a hard time about, why don't you have any Black stuff in your house? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean exactly? Why is it that because I'm a person of color, I'm a Black woman, I have to have Black stuff in my house? What does that mean? So I want our Hear Your Truth Tuesday today to really plant the seed of thinking about the words we choose, how we approach culture, how we approach race, because while we're out there fighting for inclusivity and equal rights and being treated the way, you know, a human being, just forget black, white, all that, just being treated like a regular human being. While we're out there fighting for that, some of our own language may be detrimental. And it also may be showing our own bias, our own trauma, our own fears around race and culture. We don't want to go to the extreme of saying, I'm only going to deal with Black people because they don't, you know, support us enough. So I'm only going to deal with Black people. That's taken it to a whole other extreme. And I still say support Black businesses, but support Asian businesses, support Hispanic businesses, especially women owned, because women is a different, that's a whole other category of, you know, marginalized groups. So when you're branding who you are, walk in the world. I'm very honest in the world about who I am and with my friends. My friends know me. I'm the first one to throw in that wrench of, yeah, but have you considered this side of things? Have you considered how they feel? Have you, you know, that doesn't mean that I think they're right. And keep that in mind. When you are discussing issues in the news and different things that are going on in the world, and you support a side that is possibly against your side, when you can see some bit of truth in what they're saying, don't be afraid to speak up on it because there's truth on both sides. And again, I know some people are going to be like, but there is truth on both sides. And some people can pull that out and, you know, stir the pot a little bit. But I think that those make for better conversations. I think that by expressing that truth that you see from their point of view, in addition to how your point of view is, coming together and talking about it and kind of shining a light on thinking about things in a different way. And where it comes to race and culture and even gender nowadays, because really we're getting into a world where LGBTQIA2S plus is getting out there more, kind of like how we did as Black people fighting for civil rights. LGBTQ, I mean, they've been doing it since the 70s and before, but it seems to be more prevalent now. It seems to be out there a lot more, and we're seeing a lot more of that push these days. And so I say that, you know, when you're thinking about all these different cultures and genders and different, again, thinking about inclusivity of everyone, that's where I get on my own soapbox. And, you know, as long as we continue to stay in that segregated race culture box, and it's like, this is my box, this is their box, this is the other box, and those boxes don't belong in this box, and all of that, to me, that's what perpetuates the problem and perpetuates these stifled conversations. So on at the beginning of our Black History Month, which as we all know is the shortest month of the year, but as we begin Black History Month, I want to plant the seed of one of inclusivity, but also thinking about your own culture, your own race, and showing up in the world as who you are. If who you are is dashiki down and Afro, you know, all of that, you do you, boo, as they say, you know. But if it's not, then don't try and be that. And you can mix it in here and there. My mom had this beautiful African wrap dress that I wanted. I still don't know what happened to that dress. And she had these cool wood kind of earrings that she would wear with it when I was young. It was just the coolest thing. I always wanted it. But literally, that was the only Afrocentric thing she had in her closet. Like, that was it. And the same with me. I don't have any Afrocentric anything in my closet. That's not to say I don't think they're beautiful. I think they're gorgeous. And if there was ever a time where I felt like I want that or I want to try that, I would. That's the beauty of having free choice. You can do whatever you want. And so I say today, as we go into Black History Month, try different things, experiment with different cultures, Black culture, Asian culture, Hispanic culture, um, Eurasian culture, the mix of different cultures. Experiment, understand them, and be open to all cultures, but also get educated on Black history, real Black history, not what we heard in school, because that's what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, the end. So, learn real Black history, understand that there are some Caucasian people that are masters at Black history, and don't discount them just because they happen to be white people. They have a love for Black history as well, just like some Black people. I know me, I love European history. So don't discount people, don't make the mistake that you're faulting other people for doing, if that makes any sense. I hope you hear me. So on this beginning of Black History Month, I hope that that serves you. I hope that that's a little bit of truth. And we're going to get into a little bit more on how Black history impacts us mentally and physically as we go through the month. So please tune in to the Hear Your Truth Tuesdays as we go forward. So as I wrap up today, again, I want to let you know to follow me on Facebook at LP Speak, and follow me on Instagram at LP Speak, and follow me at go to my website at www.lpspeak.com. I do want to tell you that the Positive Side of the Bad Stuff podcast is coming March of this year. So hold on, subscribe to LP Speak on YouTube, and that's where you'll be able to find that. So as always, until next time, go be do.